Hello, this is Michael Hexter. Welcome to Politics 2100, this video cast here on YouTube. And I am calling this episode Sinema Demonstrates that Corruption is Theft. So there's some news items associated with this episode that I will also put links in the description box to more news-oriented broadcasts about it. And then, but my interest here is to reframe and to de-normalize corruption in our system. So, as you might know, U.S. politics is drenched in money. It's legal for, in most situations, for large donations to be accepted by other politicians or their or in the form of dark money, in the form of independent expenditures for basically very rich donors and corporations to buy off politicians, okay, and by supporting their campaigns or by attacking their opponents. And doing various kinds of PR for them, and the rules are very, very lax, and so it's legalized corruption, okay, and most Americans recognize that this is the case in some form or other, even though the media doesn't report on it very much, and they attempt to sort of suppress specific knowledge of who is getting what money from whom, but there's an overall perception that has gotten through that politics is very corrupt in the United States, and has gotten more corrupt over the time, and so there's a sense then that corruption, that sort of it's a miasma of corruption. There's a cloud of corruption there that's sort of, it's undifferentiated. It's hard to see through it, and also it encourages cynicism. Okay, the amount of corruption that there is and the amount that it's normalized. Okay, so what I'm trying to do in this video is to reframe the topic of corruption so that people can recognize what it is, and also the injustice that is involved in it, and that it will stir them, I hope, to more concentrated action, to getting either supporting uncorrupted candidates, or also getting the rules changed so that we have less corruption. Okay, and among other things, the For the People Act has, in its full version, anti-corruption measures that unfortunately are the least likely to pass in any, because of the vast popularity among politicians of the legalized corruption. Okay, and so anyway, this week we had events, though, where Kyrsten Sinema kind of broke the mold in terms of how politicians coat their corruption, or how they present their corruption to the public. And in a way, she is, in her ineptitude in being corrupt, she exposed, I think, the true nature of the corruption in our system, and the true injustice that it represents to the voters and to the constituents of politicians. So anyway, so Kyrsten Sinema this week was being pressured by both lawmakers of various kinds, but also by her constituents, by voters, okay, and by activists who had once worked for her, and who I actually gave money to her campaign before she was elected to the Senate, I regret that a great deal. It wasn't very much, but um, so but anyway, she she stonewalled, okay, these basically some were DACA recipients or people who came to the United States when they were children, who are would be protected by certain measures in the reconciliation bill, and there are other constituencies that have been pressuring her, and basically there are videos I'll show you links in the description box, of her basically ignoring these people, acting as if they don't exist, not responding to them, not having. She makes one response in a way to someone who calls her congresswoman, or rather than a representative, rather than senator, and she corrects the person, said, "No, I'm Senator Sinema," and so that's the only time that she broke her silence in these interactions. And also, there is controversially some activists from an Arizona activist group confronted her in the restroom at Arizona State University, where she teaches a class, ironically, on raising money from donors, okay, for social workers, okay. And so she appeared to be, and it's not clear also what her ask is. So she's been asked all the time, so what is your objection to the bill? Meanwhile, Sinema is meeting with donors left and right, almost without any veil over her actions. So she's openly courting donors and going to a retreat in Arizona at an expensive resort to to get money from them. She's also been the recipient of a massive PR campaign in Arizona that falsely claims that she's for all kinds of positive, progressive things that are in the bill, when her actions show that she really seems to want to just not have anything in the budget bill whatsoever, or have a very minimal budget bill. At least that's what one could garner from her actions. So she seems to be an entirely bought-off politician, and also someone who is not capable of even hiding how bought off she is from the public. She doesn't have an out or a rationale that she gives people for what she's doing. She just simply does. So she simply is doing. She stonewalls her. She doesn't meet with her constituents. Formally, hasn't had many town halls, or hardly any at all. And she was elected to office, doesn't listen to constituents, listens to donors, collects lots of money from them, and doesn't have a script that she gives people that distracts them from these actions. So it creates this pure case of where you can see that she has been given power by constituents because they elected her, but she is then giving the power. Okay, so she's taking the power from her constituents because they elected her, and she's giving the power to the wealthy donors. So this is a theft, okay, of popular sovereignty. In other words, that the basis of her power as a senator comes from the voters of Arizona, and she's giving that power to corporations and to interest groups that are paying her money. And so this is theft, okay? And I think this form of reframing corruption is helpful, because I think that there's too much of the word corruption is maybe a little bit even abstract, or the even dirty politician or something. It's a little bit abstract. People don't interact with politicians on an everyday basis. But I think that people understand theft, okay? And they understand that when they vote for someone that they're supposed to be doing things for them, okay? And that if they're not, the politicians can make up excuses, and sometimes the excuses sort of, the media helps the politicians make excuses for not doing things for their voters. And so people can get involved in a game of distraction where the media figures create rationales for why your politician is not doing things for you, okay? Because of the deficit, because of, debt, concerns about the national debt, or that now Joe Manchin said this, because he's worried about, quote unquote, an entitlement society. And so, and some voters would say, well, I guess we don't want to be an entitlement society, and he creates a false dichotomy between a society that provides benefits to people on a wide basis, and a society where people work and achieve things and get rewarded for it. He creates a false dichotomy between one and the other, when there are many nations where people both get a lot of benefits from their governments, but also achieve a lot in their lives in various forms. So, are arguably more productive in their work. Anyway, but the lack of a rationale that Sinema provides is an opening to see that really all of these politicians that are not assiduously, constantly serving their constituents and are meeting with donors, large donors, to get special instructions from them about what to do, are stealing, okay, from their voters, are taking power that was given to them and giving it to other people who are often not their donors. Sometimes some of them may be in their geographical area and then vote for this politician, but really that's a trivial fact, because the reason why they're being listened to is because of the money that they're. So if we conceive of this corruption as being theft, I think you can have more clarity in discussions about, well, what to do about it, among other things, and also can cut through the this cloud of indifference, let's say, that forms when people are overwhelmed with that the problem is so diffuse, it's so widespread, and also, again, they don't have a concrete sense of, on a day-to-day basis, what does this corruption mean? So here we have a moment where we see, due to Sinema's ineptness, okay, as a politician, we see not only her thievery, we also see the thievery of Manchin, who is more adept as a politician, or any other politician like them that is doing the work, Josh Gottheimer, doing the work of large donors and leaving in the dust the people who voted for them, okay? And so, and this, is particularly, anyway, Sinema makes it particularly clear, but she is just the tip of the iceberg, so to speak. So I'm just putting this out there as a form of reframing and also a way to clarify what the dynamics are of corruption, the actions that are involved in corruption, taking power from people, the voters, and giving it to donors. Okay, and then also, I think a politics that incorporates some of this in it is good. If you only focus on corruption, there was also this week on the Majority Report, Alex Hochuli talked a little bit about how in Brazil, a politics that's only about corruption and not about some content of policy can also be a tricky thing. And that's how the Workers' Party, which was less corrupt than some other political parties in Brazil, was caught up and was and the leaders of it were tarred with the brush of corruption, because there was a politics of corruption without any political content whatsoever, and they which became an entering wedge for the neo-fascists of Bolsonaro, among others, to take power from the left wing. So I think that, corruption, there can be left-wing people and right-wing people who are concerned about corruption, and they can work on it together in a coalition, but they shouldn't give up their program, their policy program, and say that it's only and always about corruption. Okay, and there could be a problem also with the Young Turks focus, or sometimes the Young Turks make it only about the corruption, and that is, and that left and right are going to come together exactly around corruption, and it's going to be, and that's the main issue. It's an extremely important issue, but you don't want to give up your policy program. You don't want to have a politics that's only about fighting corruption. You want to fight corruption and also fight for the things that you want the government to do. And that's some of the reason why corruption is so grievous, is that government can't do the things that people need it to do because of, and it's also, and corruption serves the elite, serves the ruling class, okay, and it so more than it serves anyone else, and sometimes it serves some minor actors who are not the most powerful people, but ultimately it serves the ruling elite. So anyway, I will return to this topic in other videos, but I just wanted to put this out there and see how people react to it. And please comment below in the comment section. And if you like the video, please like it. And if you're liking the content of this channel, please subscribe. And I hope to see you in the next video.